It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Today's guest, Glennon Doyle Melton, was beginning to feel she had it all figured out. She was a wife and mother, and her writing career was so successful that her first book, Carry On Warrior, shot to the top of the New York Times bestseller list. Just when everything seemed on track, her husband revealed his infidelity, and she was forced to realize that nothing was as it seemed. Glennon is the author of the new book, Love Warrior, and founder of Momastery. She's been featured on The Today Show, The Talk, OWN, and NPR, as well as other television and print outlets. Welcome, Glennon. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Joan. It's thrilling to be here.
Well, Glennon, I'm so happy that you're joining us because you, just like me, you've been in a really dark place. And you, just like I've learned, believe that when you're in that place, you need to figure out a way to have some good come out of it. And that's usually where a lot of the blessings in life come from if we allow them to. So you are today what most people would consider to be successful, but it didn't start out that way for you. You battled addiction and bulimia and other demons. So what do you think put you on that road earlier in life?
You know what? I think truly, there's probably some genetics involved, but I think I attribute it to being a really highly sensitive person. Honestly, I think that addiction can really be a hiding place where sensitive people go to kind of just retreat and protect themselves from the pain of life.
Well, and I wanted to start off with this question because anybody who looks at you, you're not the face of what many people believe to be someone who battled addiction. So you really show that it can happen to anyone at any time.
Oh, absolutely. And it keeps people in shame. And, addiction doesn't discriminate. It's very interesting for me. I've always been able to appear on the outside like everything's great and fine. Mm-hmm. I've done that my whole life. For example, when I was in high school, I was admitted to a mental institution for severe depression and bulimia. And a week after I got released, I was named the leading leader of my senior class and put on a homecoming float to wave to all the people. So I always think of that as sort of stark contrast between like what can be going on in your outer life and then what's really going on in your inner life, And I remember that all the time because we cannot judge people's lives by what they look like on the outside. Everybody's fighting a battle.
What was the turning point for you? When did you say enough is enough? I need to make some changes.
I found out I was pregnant 14 years ago, and I remember just sitting on the bathroom floor holding a positive pregnancy test, and I'd been lost to addiction for 15 years at that point, and I just remember sitting on that floor thinking, all right, I finally want something more than I want to be numb. I wanted to be a mom more than I wanted to be numb, and I had never wanted anything more than I wanted to be numb. It really comes down to there's all the science and there's all the, physical stuff we have to get over, but it comes down to desire, I think. Like, what do you want badly enough to give everything else up?
So you started to make changes in your life, and then you wrote this book. Did you always want to be a writer, or was it something that just happened?
Yeah, so I started writing as a survival strategy. The first place I ever found in my life where I could be completely honest, besides the mental hospital, was my recovery meetings. And I was just obsessed with this place where we could just tell the whole truth and, really tell the story of what's going on the inside instead of always pretending like everything was okay. And so I figured out I could do that I could have that kind of honesty in my writing in a way that I couldn't in regular life. Like, when we're out in the world, we have a script that we have to stick to. And if you don't stick to the script, people give you looks.
Right.
So writing, I didn't have to do that. There was no script. I got to make it up, and I got to say anything that I wanted to say. And that's how Momastery started. And it turned out that a lot of people wanted that too. A lot of people wanted to go off script.
So then you wrote your first book, and everything in your life seemed to really be on track. I mean, as I said, you had children, you had a husband, a great marriage. It was kind of like that fairy tale that we all dream about. And then it all came to an abrupt end for you. The realization that life isn't a fairy tale. Your husband comes to you and he confesses an infidelity. What was that time in your life like, and how were you able to move through that?
Yeah, well, it wasn't an infidelity. It was repeated infidelity throughout our entire marriage. So, and it was a complete shock. I didn't see it coming at all. So, it was utterly devastating. I mean, it was another rock bottom, and it was a worse rock bottom than my first, which was on the bathroom floor, because, I think when you hit rock bottom, it's kind of like an eviction from your life, right? Like you have to give up everything that you were. And the first rock bottom, what I was giving up was being a drunk. So that was good. It was a move in the right direction. I wanted to give up that identity. I wanted to give up the identity of drunk to become a mother. But this rock bottom, I didn't want to give up my identities. I was a lot of good things. I was a wife, and I was a mom, and I was a successful writer, and I wrote about relationships. So, my God, I felt like such a fraud, because here I was talking about, happy families. I didn't even know what was going on in my own house. So it was completely and utterly devastating. And as all devastating times are, as every rock bottom is, it was the beginning of something new and beautiful in my life. And I wouldn't change it for anything in the world because of where I am now.
And Glennon, usually that's where many people stop. They give up because they don't see that there are blessings in a difficult time, or they're so afraid of change that they get stuck in a particular situation. So what advice do you offer to someone that is stuck to be able to see what you just said, a really horrific time in your life that you wouldn't change for anything?
Well, I mean, like I said before about the evictions, right? Like the rock bottom is the eviction from your life. So, it's whatever happens that divides your life into before and after. It's like this life that you've made, this identity that you have, you can't have it any longer. So, it's a diagnosis, or it's a phone call, or it's a betrayal, or whatever it is. The thing is that I've learned about these evictions is that they are always, 100% of the time, also invitations, right? So we do not get evicted from our identities unless there's a truer identity that we need to claim. Like, we're like those Russian nesting dolls, we're like, we call ourselves one thing. I called myself only wife and mother. That's who I thought I was at my core, but that wasn't true. It wasn't true enough. So we're like those Russian nesting dolls where life we become things, especially women. That's how we think we're supposed to grow up. We become things. We become a wife. We become a mother. We become a PTA president. We become a career woman. And then this time hits in our life where we realize what we really have to do is unbecome all of those things, right? To find out who we are at our core. And then when you get to that place where you figure out who you are at your core, that's when you stop being afraid, because that's an identity that no one can take from you. The rest can be taken in a second. So, just to make sure that that, like, rock bottom is a crisis. And what crisis means is to sift. Like a child who goes to the beach and holds up the sifter and watches all the sand fall away, hoping that there'll be treasure left over. That's what crisis does. It sweeps into our life, and we have to watch everything fall away, hoping that there'll be treasure left over. And for me, what's left over is my faith and my hope and my love. And that's why I'm not scared anymore, right? Because I know that the way this world is designed, the way this life is designed, is that the only things that you really need are the same things that can't ever be taken from you.
Well, and everything you just described, Glennon, was something that I experienced, which is why I opened the show the way I did about the black hole. Learning how to unbecome something. In a 6-month period of time, my marriage ended, so I was a wife. I had to learn how to unbecome being a wife. My oldest son left for college. I had to unbecome learning the care of the mom, everyday mom. My mother died. I had to unbecome learning to be a daughter. My sister died. I had to unbecome learning how to be a sister. And it is so easy when you're in that rock bottom place to become a victim, to become the woe is me, that I'm going to stop. I can't handle this change. And everything you're saying, from all of those ashes came this work that I'm doing, this radio show, the magazine, the brand. So I
Oh,
know.
I have chills.
Well, and that's why I said to you, I love your work because it resonates. But it resonates with you, it resonates with me, and I think it resonates with so many people that are listening to us right now.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. I love that story. Thank you for telling me that you've had this time, this unbecoming. And it's so interesting because the more women that I talk to who are around my age, who this stuff is starting to happen to, they all have a different word for it, but it's kind of similar. It's like I was talking to a friend the other day who said she's trying to unlearn everything. Mm-hmm. And another friend who has an album out, and one of her biggest songs is called The Unmaking. And it's like, you know, for her, it's like she's built all these things in her life, and then they came crashing down. So it's like the unmaking of her life. But it is, right? It's like that set saying, like the barn's burnt down, now I can see the moon. Mm-hmm. It's like sometimes in order to get our bearings and to remember who we really are, everything we've built has to burn to the ground.
Well, I like to say when it's dark enough, you can see the stars.
Exactly. Same. Yeah.
The book is Love Warrior by Glennon Doyle Melton. If you would like to get more information about Glennon and her work, visit Momastery, which is Momastery.com. Momastery.com. Glennon, in our final moments, what do you want to leave our listeners with?
You know what? I think one of the most important lessons I've learned is that life is just hard. And it's not hard because you're doing it wrong. That's the mistake we make. Life gets hard and we think it's because we've made a mistake. It's just designed that way. And I think it's designed that way so that we don't do it alone, right? Because we're so damn stubborn that if it were easy, we'd go it alone our whole life. So the heart of life is what pushes us towards each other. It makes us ask for help. It makes us make connections, and that's what we're here for. So if life is hard for you today, join the club. Mm-hmm. And then reach out, go off script with somebody. When somebody says, how are you? Tell them and watch their eyes light up. Be real. Go off script. That's what I'd say.
Glennon, thank you so much for being here with us today. Your story, like the story of so many people, it really is a reminder that we really shouldn't run away or fear the changes or challenges in life. If we learn to embrace them and really understand that deep pain, as you said, can lead to a richer life, I think it'll just help us to get so much more joy and live a much more impassioned life. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for your really important work. Carry on, warrior.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit CYACYL.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, CYACYL.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.